It's Nerdorama Retro Nostalgia time. It's time to have a look at these moldy discs that I showed you in the last video when we also looked at the manual. We're going to be using this wonderful 3D printed disc cleaner. Now I'm just going to pause here and show you. This is the lovely Harrison who works at my gym, who very kindly printed the disc holder for us. So it's going to be quite exciting to give this a use and see if we can save these moldy discs. And a big thank you to Limaru from Thingiverse who provided this 3D design for anybody to use and print. I'll put the link down in the description. I watched quite a few videos on disc restoration. All of them use isopropyl alcohol and some form of cleaning cloth. Some use tissue paper, some use toilet paper. I'm going to go with a microfiber cloth that came with my iPad screen, so very, very handy. Now inside the spindle here, we just had to add a rubber band or two so that there is a grippy surface so that when we spin the disc, it has something to hang on to. I'm going to insert disc 1 and then we're going to thoroughly give disc 1 a clean. Now what I've done here is I've sped up the footage. So what you are seeing here is actually 20 minutes of cleaning both discs. So I start with some fairly detailed work, going very slowly. You can't see it, but I'm actually leaning in just above the camera so I can check on the status of the mold. So I'm actually working very methodically, bit by bit by bit. I do some runs where I just grip both sides of the disc like now and just turn the handle completely and then have another little look, put it back. Now moving on to disc 2, similar thing, start with just some pressure and a quick turn and then going in individually bit by bit, slowly, turning around, looking, getting the mold up and down, then doing another quick check at the end just to see if there's any other bits of mold or large debris that I can see on either of the disc surfaces. I gave each of the discs a blow with my blowy machine just to give them a bit of extra dry time. So now it's over to disc 1 in my lovely retro computer, heading into the B drive. Fingers crossed as always, if you've seen my channel, you never know what's going to happen. dir/w, do we get a directory listing? We get a directory listing. So step 1, very hopeful. Next thing we're going to do is just going to try and install to see if we can get an installation from the physical media. Sadly, general failure reading drive B. We have some drive errors. We have a noisy disk. Let's try disk 2. See if the universe is smiling on me for disc number 2. Okay, disc 2 is going into the drive. We're going to start with the directory listing to see if we have any luck. Okay, so all of our files are listed, so that's a good step 1. This time I'm just going to create a temporary directory on the C drive because I can't install because this one didn't work. I'm then going to try and copy the files over to this temporary directory. Breath holding. File number 1. No luck. You might be wondering, what is my floppy drive doing out on the desk? Well, have a look at the discs after I use them. So those wonderful lines are scratch marks. So what's happened is dirt and debris has gotten onto the read head of the drive from these discs. That could have happened because there might be some degrading of the internal components of the lining on the disc on the inside. It could be because I didn't let the discs dry long enough. So if there was any moisture, anything that was still on the discs has just stuck to the read head. So now if I put anything else in that drive, every single disc is going to get damaged. So I'd better try and clean the read heads. I'm going to be using these isopropyl alcohol wipes and these cotton buds, or Q-tips as they're called in the States. So I have to clean the bottom and the top head as well. I'm trying not to be too abrasive, but I'm also trying to mimic what an old school drive cleaning disc would do, as it would actually spin and rotate while the reading head moves up and down. So I'm trying to go on the horizontal and the vertical without applying too much pressure. I'm also trying not to break off that little bit of foam that you can see there that needs to hold discs when the drive head is down and touching. Next, I'm going to spray isopropyl alcohol directly onto the tip of the Q-tips and just use those individually so I can have a bit more precise control over the head. I'm also going to clean the metal areas just around the head there in case any dirt or mold or debris has stuck to them as well. As you can see, there is some dirt in there, so I'm hoping that I will be able to salvage this drive because it's the only one that I have. It came all the way from, I believe, China, so I'm going to be devastated if I have ruined this drive just trying to get SimCity to work. I'm going to give every part of this drive a very, very thorough blowing, a very, very thorough drying. I want to make sure there's absolutely no moisture left whatsoever. I also want to make sure if there was any mold or any dust or any dirt or any debris that's flown around this drive, I want to make sure that it's all gone because, as I've said, this is my only drive. And if I do get any discs that are not moldy, I would like to be able to use them with confidence knowing that I'm not going to scratch the hell out of them like I did just then. I have a handful of 5¼ inch discs that are not actually moldy and were stored really well. So what I'm doing now is putting in one of those and I'm going to gently move the head up and down because I just want to check that we're no longer leaving scratch marks on discs so that if I do have any good discs in the future, I know that the drive is safe to use. So step one is I'm just going to do that quick check, having a look. Everything looks very good here. So fingers crossed. Any of those bits that were causing the scratches on the disc are gone, but now it's time to see if the disc actually will still read. Okay, so I've got the drive back in the computer. I haven't screwed it in yet just because I want to make sure everything is okay. I'm going to start by making a temporary directory called 000. I'm going to go into that directory. Now I'm going to hop into the disk drive and see if I can successfully copy all of that data over to the C drive. So we're reading the disk okay, so we've got a folder and directory list, but can we actually copy the file successfully? So we don't have the bad noises we heard before. We have nice proper drive reading noises. No errors yet. No failures yet. So I'm cautiously optimistic. We're still going. I think we might have avoided catastrophe. A successful copy and a big thumbs up. It looks like the drive is okay. Now that we are back to where we started, I did mention in the last video that I had a plan B because I was just determined to try and be able to run SimCity off a 5¼ inch disc. Obviously these discs I'm not going to attempt to use again. I tried my best, it just didn't work. What I did end up doing was I found some new old stock on Facebook Marketplace. So I brought 2 packets of discs that have not been opened. They are beautifully colored. This company is still around. They're an Asian company. They no longer obviously manufacture computer media anymore. They do a lot of health products and personal hygiene, cleaning products, nappies, diapers, things like that. They're still very successful, but obviously they are out of the floppy disk market. What I'm going to do now is check the disks and see if we have any that are suitable candidates for using in the floppy drive. But unfortunately, every single one was showing signs of mold on the surfaces. So even though I brought 2 packets, both packets were still sealed. I guess with time, with the brand of the discs, quite possibly the manufacturing processes, maybe the materials. I have seen some discs that do advertise that they are anti-mold as well. So I'm still going to have to keep looking for a packet of discs that doesn't have any mold, that doesn't have any issues. I'm going to try maybe a well-known brand like Verbatim. So I'm going to keep looking. My quest is not over, but I think if I buy discs now, I'm going to ask the sellers if they have any open packets and if I can inspect them before purchase. Plan B is now out the window. I intended on getting the image files of the 2 discs off the internet, copying them onto 1 or 2 of these nice discs, being able to use them in the drive so I could install it from the 5¼ inch drive. That's not going to happen. I'm not even going to attempt to use the 3½ inch disc that's in the box as well because it also potentially will have signs of mold and I couldn't bear ruining another drive and having to clean it again. This video has already had a lot of steps and parts. So what I've ended up doing is just copying the files that I've downloaded from the 2 disk images onto this single disk, because it does all fit on this disk here. I suspect that it's going to want to install from a floppy disk and not just files from the hard drive. Even though I've already copied the files to the hard drive, it's probably going to want to install from a disk. So let's just try it from this lovely disk. A drive, dir/w. Is it going to be install or setup? Install. Install from the A drive, yes. Install from A drive, yes. Install to C, yes. Destination directory, SimCity, sure. Yes, that is the directory. So we've got some lovely options here. We're not going to go CGA black and white or Tandy-Color 16320 by 200, Hercules 720 by 348 black and white. We're just going to go for the full 640 by 350 16 color. Yes, that's what we want. We're going to ignore joystick for now. Use no joystick. Yes, I will use no joystick. Sound. I'm going to try IBM first because I think that might be the PC speaker, because I think it will be fun to experience it through the horrific beeps of the PC speaker first, and then we'll see if we can get the sound card to work. Cool, it seems to be happy just grabbing the files off this disk, which is nice. It's doing this nice little percussive copying sounds. SimCity version 1.2 installation complete. Please read the README file on disk 1 if you have not already done so. This file contains the latest information on the IBM version. I think we're going to be okay. So, C drive, CD, SimCity. So let's run SimCity exe. Oh, here we are. Data new city. Okay, so my mouse is not working. That is good to know. So I probably have to run a mouse driver. Okay, so I've got a driver for us to give a try. CD mouse, dir, so ms mouse, ms. I think this should be a zip file that might extract. Yes, I would like to extract it. So mouse.com. So now I should have mouse.com in the mouse folder. All right, it does say we have a mouse driver installed now, so fingers crossed again. Oh yes, all right, so my mouse is working. It's taken us a lot to get to this point. We're going to leave the video here. This is the end of video 2. The next video is the big one. We're going to have all of the gameplay. So please stick around. Please come back. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to Nerdorama Retro Nostalgia, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.